In a major political shake-up in Delta State, Governor Sheriff Oborewori, his predecessor, Senator Ifeany Okowa, and several key stakeholders of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, have officially defected to the All Progressives Congress, APC. The announcement was made on Wednesday after a high-level stakeholders meeting held at the Government House at Sabah. Speaking to journalists after the meeting, Delta State Commissioner for Works, Rural Roads and Public Information, Mr. Charles Anielgo, explained that the decision to abandon the PDP was born out of the need to align with a political platform that will better serve the development goals of the state and the interests of the people of Delta State. Echoing similar sentiments, former Senator for Delta South and pioneer PDP chairman in the state, Senator James Manager, emphasized that the decision was not taken lightly, but was a necessary response to the internal issues plaguing the PDP. Joining us to discuss the defection of PDP stakeholders in Delta State is Jacob Mark, a former national legal advisor of the People's Democratic Party. Good morning, Mr. Mark, and welcome to the morning show.
Thank you, Doctor.
Well, this newspaper this morning says PDP is in disarray. The paper also says there's an earthquake that has just happened in the PDP. Now, how big is this earthquake on the Richter scale, and what are the implications for the future of the party?
Thank you so much. Truthfully, there is no political party that will be celebrating the departure of a sitting governor. So, truth be told, that is a big one for a sitting governor to leave a political party. But whether that amounts to an earthquake is something else to discuss, because we all know that in the 2023 election, the former governor of Delta State was the running mate to Atiku Abubakar. And he could not deliver his state to the PDP. So sometimes these big men have their role, but their level of control politically and when it comes to elections is something that must be interrogated. As a running mate to Atiku Abubakar, if he could not deliver his state, it goes a long way to say what tsunami he can cause by being in APC. And particularly also when you look at the state where this is happening, the people of Delta State have consistently displayed electoral capacity to think for themselves, to take decisions that are beneficial to themselves, not necessarily the decisions of stakeholders or governors or senators. The people of Delta State must be respected. It is possible that the governor and the former governor have their interests, which may not be the same interest as the interest of the electorate. And this must be put in perspective. And just like I said in the example I gave, he didn't move into the PDP. I mean, he didn't move the people to vote for him, even when the people stood a chance of having a vice president from their state. So it's questionable whether indeed, having moved to the APC, the people will follow him. And generally on these issues of defection, it is a constitutional right for people to shift based on what interest they wish to protect, not necessarily because the APC as a government is performing, not necessarily because the electorate are happy. And that will be tested, whether people are happy, whether people are excited that the government of today is performing and is delivering on all its promises is something else that will be tested, not necessarily whether the big men move into APC or not. This is being seen all over the country. In different states, people are moving, some because they want to get political mileage, some because they think that by being in the APC, they can get appointments, some because They have negotiated some things that are not known to the general public for themselves, not for the communities they represent. So defections are okay. As far as the Nigerian kind of politics is concerned, we are not operating based on any ideology as far as I'm concerned. All the political parties are the same. They represent no defined ideology that anybody can stick to. And that is why you wake up in the morning, one man is moving to this party, the next day another man is moving to the other party. Right. So defection does not necessarily mean that there is political mileage to be gained because somebody moved.
Okay. Well, it's all fair and fine for us to downplay this development and say, you know, defection happens. Some of these big men don't carry, you know, the type of value that they would appear to carry. But there is still a very strong rumors that these defections are going to continue. From sitting governors as well, we don't know whether they will move with their entire state structures or whether they will move, but I wouldn't expect a governor to move on his own. Are you doing any work internally within PDP to sit down with these governors and also try to encourage them to stay in the party? That's number one. Number two, I understand they've been given a May 29 deadline to those who've been given the offer to defect. They've been given until the 29th of May to do so. So what are some of the efforts that PDP is making between now and May 29? Because we haven't seen much of an effort in the past. Are you going to continue with the same strategy that you've been using all these past few months and years?
I agree with you that we are yet to see the end of defections. There will be a lot of defections. Some from the APC to other parties, some from PDP to APC, some from Labour Party and so on. Now, the dynamics of 2027 will cause all these movements. And like I stated earlier, it is largely due to personal arithmetic, personal negotiations, and safety for some of the exposed political characters we have. Some of them have issues that border on a lot of things, some with EFCC, some with tenure elongation, some with a chance to contest election. So all this gamut of issues are going to make room for defection here and there. But my worry as a Nigerian is really, I wish the defections could stop the killings in some of our communities. I wish the defections could affect the cost of garri and the cost of bread in the market. I wish the defections could ensure that our roads are well made. Now, the defections do not and have not affected any of these things. And let me tell you also that the current activities of certain individuals in the political atmosphere, led by Atiku Abubakar, followed by Ifeany, Baba Ahmed, Tambuwal, in conjunction with the former President Buhari, are going to give birth to more movement. Because this kind of, what they call coalition, is actually the kind of conspiracy we saw in 2014, when political giants from the north particularly came together and decided to fight against Jonathan and made sure he lost the election. Unfortunately for them, this time around they are dealing with a very well-informed politician in the person of Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He's not going to be like Jonathan, who will lie low and allow you to do a conspiracy over his head and take over power. He's not going to allow you. He's going to fight. And I know that these conspiracies or this so-called coalition that of recent, early this week, or is it late last week, when Baba Ahmed was speaking and was now talking principally for the North, saying that the North will, that if somebody does this and that, the North will not accept it, and that will be the end of Nigeria. I found that very chickenry. You don't do a coalition just comprised of people of your geographical location and then think that it will attract traction across the country. A coalition that will be broad-based should be based on the issues affecting the people of the country, not a coalition that is based on either sectional interests or religious interests. And already, you have lost traction. By the statements you are making that appear to be just for your brothers in the north, you lose attraction, you lose the interest of the other section of the country. And in fact, you trigger actions like what we are saying. Because the South has said it very clearly that they are entitled for 8 years tenure. If you wake up in the middle of the tenure and begin to make these statements indicating that you are about to sponsor or make sure that you wrest power from the South without a discussion, without their involvement, and you are doing a coalition just amongst yourselves, then you can expect more defections. Because people will not sit and watch you do a conspiracy over them, and then you expect them to clap for you or dance along with you. I've seen a lot of other governors saying they are supporting Chief Bola Tinubu. Whatever it is worth, the next few months will show. Because when you do things that are not based on principles, but they are based on sectionalism, you also have sectional reactions. And I believe that the people reacting to the conspiracy ongoing in the name of a coalition are entitled to their opinion. And they may be justified in fighting back. Some of them will defect, some of them will not defect. They will stay and work against whatever people are conspiring to do. But certainly it will not be like 2014, when people watched as 5 governors walked out of the PDP. They did it openly. And maybe it is time for them to be resisted.
Well, we'll have to essentially just wait and see. But I do think that when we're looking specifically at these defections, it's indicative of some form of a problem within the People's Democratic Party. So to ask you, perhaps even to piggyback off what Bode George had said earlier this week, he talked about anti-party activities, that the party in all cases should be supreme. And he also suggested that he felt as though the likes of Nyesom Wike and also Atiku Abubakar should actually leave the People's Democratic Party. Do you agree that their behavior in certain instances is tantamount to anti-party activity? And do you think that they should also leave the People's Democratic Party?
Well, in comparison with the governor of Delta State, I want to doff my hat for the governor of Delta State because he has displayed bravery and sincerity. I don't believe that anybody should remain in PDP and yet be working for APC. That is complete cowardice and want of sincerity. You cannot, in good faith, serve 2 masters. It is even scriptural. You can't serve 2 masters and do it well. It's a lie. And so people who are junketing from PDP to go and do a coalition with people in SDP, move around APC elements that are disgruntled with APC, yet they want to remain in PDP, are not being fair to the party. The other person, Wike, has clearly gone astray, and there is no reason why he should remain in the PDP. He should have the balls to throw in the towel like other people have done. Bold men take bold decisions. You don't stay inside the house and just celebrate breaking the television, breaking the fridge, and then you say you're still a member of the house. It's a lie. Okay. If you are bold enough, if you are sincere enough, you should depart, even without anybody telling you.
Okay, Mr. Mark,
but, you know, there is even a deficit of leadership at the national level of the PDP, because we must take responsibility of that. The deficit of leadership, there is a want of affirmativeness. There is an absence of proper leadership at the national level, where the national chairman and those around him are unable to provide credible, reliable, dependable leadership. People have lost hope. People have lost elections because of the very unnecessary, avoidable crises that are found within the NWC. This should not exist. And the people at that level ought to be ashamed that they are losing elections, both gubernatorial elections, National Assembly elections, House of Assembly elections, local government elections, and then even those who won election under the party are departing. They are leaving the party. And everybody upon departure relates and says he's leaving because there is no adequate or proper leadership at the national level. This should be a thing of concern to those people sitting there in Wadata House.
Okay, Mr. Mark, well, I mean, those who defect from one party to the other, they will quote Section 40 of the Constitution and say they have the right to associate with whoever they want. But the issue that I would like you to address, which has been thrown up afresh now, is about defection, the legal implications. Section 68, Section 109, you know, the Abegunde case, we seem to have given the impression, or established rather, that people occupy political positions because those positions, elected positions, belong to the party, not to them as citizens. Should Governor Oberewori, should he step down from that position since he has left the PDP on which platform he won election? Should all the local government chairmen, members of the House of Assembly, should they also lose their positions? What do you have to say either in their defense or against them, since those sections of the Constitution and the Electoral Law 2020 have not been changed?
The first thing to take note of is that the Constitution made very clear provisions as to the defection of members of the legislature. It says if you defect without a division or a crisis that makes it impossible for the headquarters, the national body to function, if you dare defect, you lose your seat. That provision is very clear as regards the legislature. But when it comes to governors and chairmen of local government, the Constitution is silent. Now, it is sad that the party has not even been able to assert itself in cases that are covered by the Constitution. And this is also a clear proof that there is no leadership. The leadership is weak, maybe not focused on retaining its assets in the National Assembly and the state assemblies. Because once you leave your seat, and we have a functional national office, set of national officers, the Constitution provides that you lose your seat. But I've not seen where the national officers have instituted action to reclaim the seats of members of the National Assembly who defect, or State of Assembly who defect, because we have a functional National Working Committee. But people have defected and there has been no repercussion. And all because nobody has asserted the rights of the party properly in court. We need to go to court and assert and seek the decisions of the court on this matter. And it has been decided in several cases that you lose your seat. Now, for the governors, it is only a moral issue. Since there is no sanction in the Constitution concerning or affecting any defecting governor. But truly, your votes do not belong to you. Your votes belong to the people. And the people exercise their rights by deciding that they wanted this political party and its candidate. Yes, the votes belong to the political party, but the candidate also, no political party can contest election without a candidate. So it's a dual thing. The rights of the candidate are there, but the rights of the party are also there. Until the party is sound and properly structured and is active and assertive of its rights, many things will go wrong. We have had situations in the past where people wanted to defect, and the party called them to order.
Mr. Mark, very quickly before we go, because we need to round up now.
Yes.
The body language is looking as though Atiku Abubakar will continue to be at the helm of affairs of the PDP, meaning that the PDP will field a northern candidate yet again. And some might analyze this situation and say there's a disgruntlement that the South will stand with the South. Do you foresee the PDP making this mistake again?
Well, with the kind of leadership we have at the center, until things change, until there is a proper strategy of rejigging the national leadership, that mistake may be committed. And like I said, that is one of the reasons why people are defecting, particularly those from the South. You cannot continue to do politics in the same fashion and expect a different result. People in charge of the PDP must wake up to their responsibility and do what is right. The party is not tied or is not sold or bequeathed to anybody. The party must do what is right. And we know that there are certain decisions that are taken at the detriment of the party. You take those decisions, certainly the reactions will be multiple. And they may not just be from the South, but from virtually the entire, or more than 80% of the members of the party across the country will work against the party if certain decisions are taken, because enough signals are there to warn the party and to direct the party on what is right. But, you know, we have gotten to a stage where individuals superintend over the political parties as their private property. And what they wake up and think in the morning is what they implement. And that is so unfortunate for a political party like the PDP. It ought to be very, very varied and structured. The party has the most organized structures across the country. You go to any ward in the country, you'll find PDP offices and members. But those assets are being wasted because the leadership at the center has failed.
Okay, on that note, we would like to thank you very much, Mr. Mark, for joining us on The Morning Show.